Welcome to Reviews That Scare with Jess and Blair. I'm Jess.
I'm Blair.
Blair, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
I am doing very well. Thank you very much. We are officially on to our third episode of the month of April, a month we've been calling Ha Ha Horror Month. And believe it or not, we're having to pull an audible.
Yeah, we are.
It's been a minute since we've called an audible, and we have no choice. We were scheduled to review the Mel Brooks, Gene Wilder classic Young Frankenstein, and unfortunately, it's not available anywhere.
No, definitely not in Canada anyway.
No streaming services. It's not even available to rent on Apple or buy on Apple. The only word I can think of is travesty. This is a travesty. And shame on you, whoever is not making this available to the public. This movie must be seen by everyone at all costs. It will save mankind.
I know. I was really excited to watch it because I haven't seen it before, but
I could have sworn I had a physical copy, and I could not find it. I was able to find a copy dubbed in Italian. I just didn't have time to learn Italian. So instead, we're reviewing something completely different tonight. But before we chat about that, what do you say we chat a little bit about some horror news?
This is horror news.
Blairski, you want to kick off horror news?
Yeah, I got two pieces. First being the first trailer for The Joker 2 came out. And Jesse, it looks fantastic, man. There's some really cool shots in the trailer. They call it a teaser trailer, but it's like over 2 minutes long.
Yeah.
Really good trailer. So any of our listeners who have not seen that, definitely check it out. Release date is October 4th later this year.
Go and watch this trailer. It looks great. Joaquin Phoenix looks great. Lady Gaga looks great. To my understanding, it's a musical, which is really, really interesting.
Yeah.
It looks fantastic. I know that the first one, Joker, it took the world by storm.
Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing it in theaters and was shocked at how good it was. And I haven't seen it yet, so I think I'll rewatch the first one before the second one comes out. But the trailer looks chef's kiss.
Looks really good, man. And Joaquin Phoenix, he's good in pretty much anything.
Agreed.
To be honest.
Agreed. Yeah, absolutely.
Finally, we have some more news on the Strangers trilogy. We've already discussed the trailer for part 1 and how good that looks. Release date for that again is May 17th this year. But apparently, we will also be getting chapter 2 this year. No trailer obviously out for that yet, or no actual release date, but apparently it will be some point before the end of the year.
Yeah, I heard fall 2024, which is very vague.
Yeah, it's very vague, but I do know that they have filmed all 3 movies in the trilogy. Filming is done.
I remember you telling me that the other day, and I think you had said that, well, obviously, if the release for the second part is 2024 fall, then we're probably looking at a 2025 release date for part 3.
And probably early 2025, I'd guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Just get them all out there,
Yeah. I have quite a bit, and believe it or not, I have quite a bit of Terrifier 3 news.
Oh, you must be excited to talk about this.
Yeah, over the moon. I'm doing this for you, Blairski. First of all, this came out just this morning, but Bloody Disgusting announced this morning that the upcoming Damien Leone film Terrifier 3 has officially wrapped filming.
I read that as well. Yeah.
The film will be released later this year. I believe it was October 25th.
Yeah, Halloween season. I can't remember the
Halloween
exact
season.
date.
Perfect. We've mentioned it before. The perfect time to release a Christmas horror movie, October 25th. Why not? Believe it or not, I have even more Terrifier 3 news.
All right.
Daniel Roebuck, featured in such Rob Zombie movies as Devil's Rejects, 3 from Hell, 2007's Halloween, and its 2009 sequel Halloween 2. The Munsters 31 has joined the cast of Terrifier 3 and will be playing Santa Claus.
That, if I am thinking of the right guy, that seems like a character he'd do well.
Yeah. So just to throw it out there, he in Devil's Rejects 3 from Hell, he played Morris Green.
Yeah.
In Halloween and its sequel, he played Lou Martini. The Munsters, he played Dracula. Dracula?
Yeah.
Yeah. He
That's
played Dracula.
that's exactly the guy I'm picturing. So yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. You mentioned this to me the other day. I'm surprised you didn't mention it, but Scary Movie, everyone's favorite spoof franchise that took the world by storm in the early 2000s, will be gracing the silver screen once more.
Yeah.
As scheduled to be in production starting fall 2024, which most likely means a theatrical release of probably mid 2025. I wouldn't be surprised if they try and have like a summer 2025 release or maybe even a Halloween season 2025. But I'm thinking probably summer 2025 is my guess.
I feel like summer would make sense. And I really hope they have a lot of the original cast back for this one.
Yeah, absolutely. How could you not, right? How could you not? Another sequel announcement as Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is set to be released fall 2025, as per an announcement recently made at CinemaCon. So that's something interesting. Blair, you saw part 1 or Five Nights at Freddy, the first one.
I did. I saw it in theaters. Don't fully remember it. It was okay.
It was kind of left out into the open. They hadn't originally come out and say, hey, we're doing a sequel. But here it is, released 2025, something to look forward to.
Well, I did see that Matthew Lillard had signed on for a trilogy.
Oh, excellent. Okay, so trilogy. There you go. Trilogy. And then finally, sorry, I am bursting at the seams with horror news this week, but it's been a busy week. One more here. Blumhouse and Lionsgate are getting together for, hold for dramatic pause, a new Blair Witch Project movie.
Yeah, right on.
No timeline set for new project as of yet, but something cool to look forward to. You and I love the original. This will be a fun one to see in theaters. Hopefully it gets, well, being Blumhouse, being Lionsgate, I can only imagine it's getting a theatrical release.
Oh, 100% it is. I love the Blair Witch franchise. A little worried that it's Blumhouse just from some of the movies they've released lately, but Lionsgate's usually pretty good, so we'll see.
Yeah, Blumhouse has its finger in everything that's being done in the horror world at the moment.
Yeah.
So who knows? Hopefully it's not a cash grab. Hopefully it stays true to the original. We'll see. Only time will tell.
Yeah.
That's enough of horror news. What do you say we get into this week's episode? The third episode in Haha Horror Month goes to 2017's Happy Death Day. Runtime on this one, 1 hour, 36 minutes. Blairski, initial thoughts on the runtime?
Initially, the runtime is good. It did feel a little long at the ending, which I'll chat about later.
Yeah, I agree. We'll chat about that later. Let's jump into our first segment of the night, one of our favorites, Fun Facts.
Fun facts. Facts that are fun.
Blairski, you got some fun facts for Happy Death Day.
I do. The movie was originally called Half to Death and was supposed to be produced by Michael Bay, which I found pretty interesting. Obviously, the name changed to Happy Death Day, and we got Jason Blum as production. The killer's mask was constructed by Tony Gardner, the same man who made the Ghostface mask in all of the Scream movies, which I found pretty freaking sweet. And finally, this movie is inspired by Scream, Halloween, Groundhog Day, and Back to the Future.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you have those that slasher, a little bit of slasher taste to it. And we'll get into the comedic elements of this movie. Groundhog Day, obviously, is very prevalent in this one.
Yeah.
We'll get into it, though. I've got a couple here. As teased in the trailer, Tree's original ringtone, which is a big part of this movie, was supposed to be In Da Club by 50 Cent.
It should have been.
Unfortunately, they could not acquire the rights. That would be great.
Yeah.
Instead of, hey, it's your birthday, so why don't you pick up the phone? Oh, goodness. And then finally, the school mascot, which is a baby, which we will get into, was originally supposed to be a pig. But director Christopher Landon was expecting a baby at the time and has stated he had baby on the brain.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Also, if you think of movies like Saw, where, a pig mask is pretty prevalent, come up with something different.
Yeah, 100%.
This one directed by Christopher Landon, also directed 2014's Paranormal Activity, The Marked Ones, 2015's Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse, 2020's Freaky. He also wrote Paranormal Activity 2, 3, and 4, and is the son of a legendary actor, Michael Landon, aka Pa Ingalls from Blair's favorite TV show, Little House on the Prairie. Michael Landon, 180 some episodes. Little House on the Prairie.
Too funny.
It is his favorite of the Ingalls. This one, written by Scott Lobdell, also wrote 7 episodes of the X-Men TV series, 2019's made-for-TV movie Critters Attack, and wrote the story for possibly Tommy Lee Jones's greatest film, Man of the House.
I thought you were going to say Men in Black.
Nope, although that is good. Man of the House, where Tommy Lee Jones plays a Texas Ranger who must protect a group of cheerleaders who have witnessed a murder. Good for you, Tommy Lee Jones. This one starring Jessica Roth as Tree, also starred in 2016's La La Land, 2017's Please Stand By, 2020's Valley Girl, and in 2023's Boy Kills World. Also starring Israel Broussard as Carter. He starred in 2010's Flipped, 2013's The Bling Ring, 2018's To All the Boys I've Loved Before, and 2018's Extinction. And then finally, Ruby Modine as Lori, also starred in 21 episodes of the hit TV series Shameless, and in the music video for the song Call Me Little Sunshine by Ghost. Excellent song,
Great song
by an excellent band. Synopsis for 2017's Happy Death Day, courtesy of our dear friends at IMDb. A college student must relive the day of her murder over and over again, in a loop that will end only when she discovers her killer's identity. Yeah.
It's exactly the movie for sure. It's all right.
That's good. Yeah. Okay. Synopsis. It's short, sweet, and to the point.
Not really exciting, but
no, it's not overly exciting, but that's what the rest of the 1 hour and 37-minute movie is for. This leads us to one of our favorite segments of the show, Kill Count.
Kill Count. The time of the show we count the kills.
Blairski, how many do we have for a kill count on this one?
Well, that's a weird one, right? Because we have characters that are dying, obviously, multiple times.
Yeah.
So I basically kind of went by all the deaths you see, and we got a kill count of 20.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
Big kill count in this movie, man.
That's one of the bigger ones that we've seen so far this year, I think.
It is. Yeah, it is.
20 kills, half of those, if not more, being Tree.
Yeah. Yeah. Poor girl.
Oh, goodness. Okay, let's start with that. That's a good segue, as it often is, to one of our favorite segments, likes and dislikes. Likes. Dislikes. Likes. Dislikes. And everything in between. The portion of the show where we chat about what we liked, what we didn't like, and everything in between. Blairski, do we want to start with the kills in this one?
Yeah, I found the kills were pretty good. There were some where I wish it showed more, but I think this movie's a PG-13 movie, right? So you can only get away with so much. But for what we did see, I feel like the kills were pretty good. Most of them were all just, with a knife.
It definitely feels like a PG-13 slasher movie. I was going to say at the same time, although a lot of it happens with a knife, I felt that although a lot of the deaths are repetitive, as in Tree keeps dying over and over and over again, I felt like the deaths were pretty fresh each and every time.
They were. Well, she was definitely, every time she died, she was in at least a different situation. Whether or not it was the same murder weapon specifically, it was always a different scenario going on. Which
absolutely. Awesome. And I mean, for a movie that has a premise like this, they could have made it really, really easy for them to just fall into repeating themselves.
Yeah.
Just because that's what the whole movie is about. But I don't feel like the deaths felt stale or anything like
No,
that.
not at all. Not at all.
Yeah. What else did you really like about this one?
Okay, I want to go back to the very beginning of the movie and I want to talk about how the Universal Studios intro kept looping back to itself.
Yeah.
I loved that. I thought it was a good little touch by Universal Studios to do that.
It was nice and fresh. And I mean, Universal Studios with the world and the song, it's iconic. You know, everyone knows, oh, that's Universal, just like they know, oh, that's Fox or you know, et cetera, et cetera. But I thought it was cool. It was a nice touch to the film, which is all about reliving certain aspects or rewinding or going back or starting over. Yeah, it was great.
For sure. Like, this is my second watch. So I knew it was coming. But the first time I watched this movie, I didn't fully know what it was about. And I was like, what the hell's going on? I thought the stream was glitching out or something was going on.
Yeah, absolutely. This was the first time that I saw the movie.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really sure what to expect. I obviously love a good slasher movie. And even more so, I love a good bad slasher movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
And although there were funny moments in the movie, I didn't find it to be an over the top, ha ha funny movie, say like we did last week. And that is like setting the bar really high. I mean, we did What We Do in the Shadows last week, which is
Hilarious.
You know, a comedy movie in its roots. And again, although there are funny moments in this movie, I didn't feel like it was like there wasn't any belly laughs or anything like that.
This is exactly how I have it written down here. It says, although this movie does have its moments, I didn't find it nearly as funny as the first two films we watched, although I did still find this movie pretty entertaining.
100% entertaining. And I think a lot of that humor, at least at the beginning of the movie, comes with the frustration of, oh my God, like it didn't work, you know, or we're getting so much closer. And then after a while, you're kind of with the character of Tree, where you're just maybe getting as frustrated as she is.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you know, let's get something to happen.
One of the funniest moments I did notice in the movie was when Tree was getting arrested and how happy she was to be getting arrested because, you know, she thinks she's going to be in a safe place, right? I thought that was probably one of the funniest parts of the movie. I mean, there was funny dialogue throughout, but as a full scene, that part was pretty funny.
And I think what made that part so funny is even the death afterwards, it was something that we hadn't seen yet in the movie.
Yeah.
And that particular scene does come a bit later in the movie. So we're waiting for something refreshing. And that scene as a whole is definitely refreshing. It is one of the funnier scenes for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely stood out to me.
I thought it had a really unique idea. I mean, the whole idea of having, you know, to relive your murder and you keep reliving it until you find out who your murderer was. I thought it was overly unique until the character Carter says at the end, it's like Groundhog Day. And then it's like, oh, wait a minute. It's exactly like Groundhog Day minus the whole murder thing.
Yeah, it is. But I did like how they throw in, so even though she's getting murdered every day and coming back to life, every time she dies, it's taking a toll on her body physically and mentally, which I did like that they added that in. It's not just a complete reset of the day. There are consequences to it.
Absolutely. She can only die so many times, you know?
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the acting in this one. I thought both Jessica Roth and Israel Broussard as Carter and Tree were great in this. I thought their chemistry was really, really good. I thought that the best scenes in the movie were scenes that they were in together.
Yeah, I agree.
And even just the character or the chemistry that the characters themselves had, I thought was really, really good. They both trusted each other, and it seemed like he was the only one she could rely on. Chemistry was really, really good.
Yeah, I totally agree. I have that written down as well. Solid was very acting, especially from those two.
Yeah. Okay, so there is a plot twist in this one.
Yeah.
It isn't like a major M. Night Shyamalan plot twist, but there is a plot twist in this one. Now, without giving too much away, Blair, yay or nay on the plot twist?
I'm going to go with a nay. So here's here's what I have written down about it without also giving too much away. I did like the false ending. Like I did kind of like it, but at that was the point of the movie. I felt it was kind of getting long.
Yeah.
I was completely happy with the way I had originally thought it was ending. I was satisfied with that. You know what I mean? So
I was satisfied as well. And also, like, you look at a movie like Friday the 13th, where, you know, it has some really great false endings.
yeah,
It's like, you know, slasher movies, there's just some great false endings where you know, it does pay off in that way. But I don't know. I felt like it could have, or it should have ended
exactly.
with all that extra stuff, especially when certain characters seem to be truly compassionate towards Tree.
Yeah.
And then, you know, they end up
Being the
killing her or
being the
trying to
total
kill her.
opposite of what you think they are the entire movie. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like I felt like it was just maybe a bit unnecessary, and they were just trying to stretch it out longer than it needed to be.
Yeah. I totally agree, man. I totally agree.
Yeah, there was a lot of questions that I felt were maybe unanswered in this one. Mostly why or how. You know, why Tree?
Yeah.
Why the killer? How is this happening?
Yeah.
That I don't think was ever explained.
It wasn't. There is a second movie. I don't know if they explain it in that or not, but it wasn't explained in this one at all.
I did see that there is a second movie, and I did see that the majority of the cast from the first one are also in the second one. So I'm imagining that, you know, elements of the first movie play out again in the second movie, or, you know, something like that. But
Yeah.
it left me scratching my head a little bit, this one.
Yeah, me too.
Maybe the story just got like too complex. I don't know. I felt like between the murder in the hospital and the whole roommate thing, it was just portions of it felt too much.
It did get a little carried away near the end of the movie. I'll agree with that. It went from a very, very, very simple premise to a little what the fuck.
Yeah, just a little. So we've made it this far without talking about the mascot, but I thought after watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer, we would never be able to top a school mascot until Happy Death Day. For those of you who have not seen this movie, the school mascot is a baby.
Yeah. It's a giant baby.
I thought the whole point of a school mascot was to strike fear in opposing schools, strength, pride in your schools. Nothing strikes fear in my heart less than a baby.
And it's not only the school mascot, it's the killer's costume. So
It's the killer's costume, which, I mean, the mask does look great, but it's like, how can you, I imagine that this university has never won a sports game before.
do you know what the mask reminded me of? Have you ever seen the movie Valentine? So
I don't
that's a
know if I
horror
have or
movie,
not.
early 2000s horror movie. So the killer in that movie has a Cupid costume and a Cupid
Okay.
mask, which
Yeah.
is also very babyish. The costume very much resembled that to me.
See, that makes more sense in a movie called Valentine's. It's like, yeah, of course the killer's going to kind of look like Cupid.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, we're going to have a slasher movie. It's going to take place, you know, at a university. It's going to be about this woman reliving her death. What should the killer be wearing on his face? And it's like, oh, that's easy. Baby mask. It's absurd. It's absurd. Oh, goodness.
Oh, too funny, man.
I also want to give one more shout out. They played Mother in this movie. Mother, a good old Canadian band from, I believe, your neck of the woods, Blairski. I believe they are from BC.
They are, and right on for that too. But I do have it. This is actually the last thing I wrote down here for likes and dislikes.
Yeah,
And I do have it as a dislike. I wasn't a fan of the soundtrack for this movie. I found it cheesy in some placements and not in like the good kind of cheese. You know what I mean?
college music has like such a place. There's so many bands that are like specifically college bands, music that you hear or listen to while you're in college.
Yeah.
This soundtrack could have been so much better.
Yeah.
I
I was
mean-
kind of meh about it all.
I mean, I would have just been hyped for the Indie Club ringtone.
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't the actual song, even if it was just like an actual ringtone of Indie Club by 50 Cent. But no.
Man, back when that song came
we
out,
can't have
everyone
nice
had it
things.
as the ringtone.
Oh, yeah. 100%. We just can't have nice things around here.
No, we can't.
Okay, what do you say we move along? What do you think?
Yeah. I think we've covered
Okay,
it.
this leads us to our next one of our favorite segments, which is lessons we learned from watching at 2017's Happy Death Day.
Lessons we learned from watching. Insert title of movie here.
The portion of the show where we discuss the valuable life lessons we learned from watching said movie. Blairski, did you learn a single thing from Happy Death Day?
Just one lesson learned for this movie, and it was a very well said quote by the character Tree, who said, "I can't change what I've done, but I can start trying to be a better person today," which is a life lesson I think everybody should listen to.
Absolutely. Yeah, words to live by 100%.
Yes, sir.
I've got a couple here. Carpe diem, folks. Seize the day.
Yeah.
Or as the film puts it, today is the first day of the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Go out there and live it.
Yeah. 100%.
Carpe diem. Following that, signs of a psycho killer. 1, they don't wear makeup. 2, they never post cute selfies. And 3, they own Crocs. I also learned don't eat poison cupcakes, especially if your roommate who hates you made it for you. Don't ever eat a cupcake if the person made one single cupcake.
Yeah.
Maybe if they made like a whole tray, maybe if they made a dozen or a baker's dozen even. But if they make a single cupcake, there's no way. Doesn't matter how good the icing looks.
Good
stay
point,
away.
man. Yeah, good point.
If you're a teacher, don't sleep with your students. Whether you're married or you're not, don't do it.
No.
And then finally, eat breakfast. Even if people tell you not to, or if it's not cool, eat breakfast. It's good for you. Carpe diem and eat breakfast.
It's the best meal of the day as far as I'm concerned.
That's right. Carpe breakfast. See the breakfast. Okay, this leads us to one of our favorite segments, Line of the Night.
Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night.
The segment of the show where we discuss our favorite lines from the movie. They might give us chills. They might give us the giggles. All we know is that they are our favorites. Blairski, you got a couple lines?
Welcome to the Pleasure Dome.
Yeah.
Said by Nick.
Yeah.
I laughed my ass off at that scene for sure. Tree in one scene says to Tim, "Who takes their date to Subway? Besides, it's not like you have a foot long."
Yeah.
Shots fired, but I thought it was hilarious.
Apparently that was improvised.
Oh, was it? Right on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Final line is Tree to Carter, says, "Would you stop looking at me like I just took a dump on your mom's head?" Now, I don't know if that was improv either, but it was also a pretty awesome one.
Wowza. I've got a couple here. College sports fan, after their team either is won or they've just had a really good time tailgating, says, "Babies for life." Dear Lord. Again, babies, not overly intimidating.
No.
Danielle, who is, I guess, the leader of the sorority. I don't know if they have leaders.
I think so.
Says to Becky, "Is that chocolate milk I see?" To which Becky says, "I missed breakfast." To which Becky says, "What is breakfast?" Eat breakfast, folks.
Yeah, eat breakfast.
And then finally, Carter says, "How do you sleep at night? You've never seen Groundhog Day?" I thought that was pretty great.
Yeah.
This leads us to our final and what some might say our favorite
Definitely my
segment
favorite
of the show.
Definitely mine.
I say it all the time. I'm not convinced yet, but it's in my top 5. Celebrity lookalike time.
Celebrity lookalike time.
The time of the show where we take a look at the cast and discuss their celebrity doppelgangers. Spoiler alert, it usually comes down to the character's hairstyle. Blairski, what do you got for celebrity lookalike time?
I just have one for this movie. The main character tree reminded me of someone we saw at the Calgary Horror Con just last year. Someone who had a pretty interesting panel we were in attendance for, Catherine Corcoran.
Absolutely, from Terrifier.
One of the main stars in the very first Terrifier movie.
Absolutely, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
To add on top of that, the character tree I thought reminded me a bit of Blake Lively, actress
I could
Blake
see that.
Lively.
Yeah.
The character Carter reminded me of Adam Brody, who played Seth on the OC.
That's who it is, man. I knew he reminded me of one. I couldn't pinpoint it.
It's honestly, it's that like that mid 2000s college look.
100%. Yeah.
And then finally, Tree's dad reminded me of Manchester United legend Wayne Rooney.
Okay.
Go Red Devils.
Yeah.
Okay, this leads us to our final rating for 2017's Happy Death Day Blairski.
Yes,
Out
sir.
of 5 endless loops of MTV's Teen Mom, what do you give Happy Death Day?
Probably my least favorite of the ones we have covered this month so far, but I still enjoyed it, found it quite entertaining. 3 endless loops of MTV's Teen Moms out of 5.
Fair enough. I'm actually going to shoot a little bit low on this one.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it 2 endless loops of MTV's Teen Moms out of 5. My hopes were very high, being a slasher movie, and I was just, believe it or not, I was a little bit bored.
Fair enough.
But I'm glad we watched it. Unfortunately, like we said, we weren't able to watch Young Frankenstein.
No.
We'll watch it another day. We'll find it.
I hope so, man. Maybe we just have to find it somewhere physical, like a physical.
If anyone
copy.
has a copy, we might have to take a staff field trip to the lobby on White Ave.
Yeah, I'd be down. I'd be down with that.
I'm sure the lobby has a copy, at least one copy of Young Frankenstein. If not, I'm sure Kevin at the lobby would be able to track it down for us.
Yeah.
Why not? This was fun to talk about it. 2 more episodes to go this month.
Our next episode is our watch party, buddy.
Oh, I can't wait. Blairski, do we have a date set for that watch party yet?
We have not discussed it yet. We know what movie it's going to be. We are going to be watching Evil Dead 2. So if anyone wants to join us for that, just keep an eye on our social media and we'll post a date a little later this week.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is going to be later this week. So keep an eye out. But until then, this has been Reviews That Scare with Jess and Blair. I'm Jess.
I'm Blair. Remember to stay scary.
And eat every sandwich. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for listening to Reviews That Scare. Make sure you check out our Linktree at linktree/Reviews That Scare. That's linktr.ee/Reviews That Scare, which has links to our Instagram, YouTube, Patreon, Twitch, and many other things. If you'd like to email us, you can reach us at reviewsthatscare@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and remember to stay scary and eat every sandwich. A proud member of Pod Nation TV.